Okay, let's learn the reels. When you take any of your same time turns, like up behind the hips, and then passing up in front of the hips, if you loop that, that's hip reels. If you loop down behind the shoulders with down in front of the shoulders, that's shoulder reels. And if you loop up behind the hips with down behind the shoulders, that's chase the sun. I don't know where these names came from. They all happened, they was all named before I started spinning poi. And there's a few hints and tricks to learning to do this well. The first starts with how you're turning. So face this with me. Now, up till now, we have been working with cardinal directions. So directly in front of me, I've got the middle of the bridge. Directly to my right, I've got a tree. Directly to my left, I've got a oil tanker, unfortunately. And directly behind me, I've got you. And what we're going to do now, we're going to pick some stuff in between the cardinals. So, because if you're doing a full turn, I can face the tree. And then I can turn 180 degrees towards the oil tanker. And that works great. And then maybe I do another full turn to my left, whoosh, get back to my tree. But if you're trying to loop this as reels, turning my body all the way from the tree to my oil tanker is kind of oversteering. It's a bit chaotic. It's hard to control. So my sternum, my body, I'm just going to turn, well, there's my middle of my bridge. I'm just going to turn from the grain elevator to the container ship. So it's more of just a wiggle. But the poi, the tracks don't change. And this is the funny thing. So what you need to do is get your poi coming down your landmark to your right, but then shift your body back towards the front. So I shift my body halfway back towards the middle of the bridge. And when I'm from over here, the poi are going backwards up my oil tanker, but I shift my sternum halfway back towards the middle of the bridge. So for me, it's going between the grain elevator and the blue shipping buildings. So this, and again, start just with the turns in front of you. So I start here, I shift my body. When I turn, I just shift a little bit. My poi are still coming up the oil tanker, but my sternum's facing on an angle over here, and then I shift back. Turn, and back. Turn. And then I find what's the minimal amount of wiggling, of turning with my body that makes a turn happen. I want it to happen from the turning, because this will look really awkward. Then you're going to do the same thing with the poi coming behind you. So again, normally you would start here, but now you're going to shift your body back towards the front, and up behind you with a little turn, and then down behind your shoulders with a little turn. Up behind with a little turn, down behind, up behind, until you can do this one and this one with just a slight shifting of your shoulders. Now let's start with the shoulder reels. So we start with the poi over here, but our bodies shifted back towards, not all the way, but towards the front. We do a little turn with the body, just pass the poi down past our toes, and then a little turn back behind the shoulders. Toes, shoulders, toes, shoulders, toes, shoulders, toes. And you might have to go and practice that for a while. Come back and you're going to do this. You're going to go shoulders, toes, all in one. Shoulders, shift back. Shift over and back. And once that works, you can try shoulders and back and shoulders and back. Shoulders and toes, shoulders and toes, shoulders and toes. Shoulders, and then you can try pass the toes behind the shoulders, toes behind the shoulders, toes behind the shoulders, toes, and that's shoulder reels. So see how it's just a little bit of the minimal amount of wiggling possible. At the hips, it's going to be the same thing. Instead of a full turn like this, you're going to already have your body facing the front, and you're just going to do a slight shift with your hips, and then rainbow in front with a bit of a turn, behind, in front, behind, in front. And you look for as little turning as possible, but using the turn. And then you think behind the hips, in front as one movement. Behind the hips, front. Or you can go from front to behind the hips. Front to behind the hips, front to behind the hips, front to behind the hips. We're going to come back to this next in the next section, the next week, because it's going to take a bit to build this up. But that will get you started. It's okay if it's a little shaky. We're going to start here. We're going to continue, and get you really smooth with all of this.